podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. The show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Saturday, June 19th, 2021. This is episode 1806. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by CashFly. Give your users the seamless online experience they want. Power your site or app with CashFly's CDN and be 30% faster than the competition. Learn more at twit.cashfly.com. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here. That's me. I'm your tech guy. Time to talk about tech. Computers, yeah. Sure, it's all computers all the way down, really. The internet, without that, a computer would just be a fancy calculator. So the internet for sure. Home theater, we've got Scott Wilkinson, our home theater guru, coming up in just a little bit. We also talk about digital photography, YouTube, internet, I said that, social media, all of that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number if you want to talk high tech. Let's do it. What do you say? 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Still can call outside that area. Just use Skype, and it should still be free. 8888 Ask Leo. There's a website. Of course, what kind of tech guy would I be without a website? TechGuyLabs.com. Although increasingly websites feel old-fashioned, don't they? Really, I should have an app. That's what I should have. But I'm too lazy to make an app. So we just have a website. It's the easiest thing in the world. TechGuyLabs.com. Everything you hear on the show will be written there thanks to our scribe, James DeRuvo. Hi, James. He's writing as we speak. We also put audio and video from the shows up there after the fact. This is episode 1806 in a continuing series of attempting to figure out what the heck is going on in technology. What the heck is going on? Let's see. State of California has launched a digital vaccine verification system. It's not exactly the most technologically sophisticated thing in the world. State of Massachusetts has an app. Actually, there's been some consternation about the app because there are some Android users who say, Google just installed this without asking. There's an app on my phone, the Massachusetts State app. I didn't do it. Yeah, that's probably not a good thing for Google to do. Google and Apple both on their phones have a setting that you have to opt into saying, I want COVID notifications. But now really it's not so much that I want to be notified I've been exposed. Now what you'd like is some way to show your phone or whatever so you could get into a theater or a restaurant or go on a trip and that kind of thing. So California has a system where you go to a website, you enter your name and your birthday. That's all they need, apparently, and your phone number, and then they send you a link. You also have to give them a PIN, and then they send you a link, and you can. It's a myvaccinerecord.cdph.ca.gov. I did it last night and it never heard of me, so I'm not sure how well this is going to work. Actually, that's a cause for concern, isn't it? Because if others are using this database, it'll look like I never got vaccinated, but I certainly did. And I have a card. I have a paper card I can bring with me. So, I don't know what's going on. Apparently what you'll get is a QR code that you can show people. It says, I'm vaccinated, and then I guess they'll accept it. Let me just try this again. Maybe it was last night that they didn't know. I don't know. Maybe they were just getting that all set up. It was broken. I hope so. Because all it is a picture you hold on your phone, which is really as good as anything, right? This is tricky because, there's for all sorts of reasons. If it's just a picture, anybody could, use Photoshop, edit it, put it on their phone, even if they didn't get there's somewhat of an honor system here. You didn't get a vaccine. I don't see any reason you couldn't, put this on your phone with your name and birthday and, borrow it from somebody. Undoubtedly, somebody will put theirs up on the internet, and you could just use that. That's the warning that went out when those vaccine cards went out. Is don't put it on the internet. People will steal it. People are people. People game the system. That's the phrase I'm using. They game the system. I guess it's always happened, but boy, in the internet era, it's happened in spades. The gaming the system is when you take something and you decide and you modify how you interact with it in such a way to your benefit. So hackers, that's what they do. They game the system. That's what a spear phishing email is. It comes from the boss, except it's not really from the boss, but they gamed it, right, so that you would believe it. It's a problem all over the place, gaming the system. It makes it very hard to do stuff online, whether it's voting or vaccine cards, because there is a certain percentage of the population that takes great pleasure in gaming the system, even if it maybe is a little sketch. This maybe dishonorable would be a good phrase for it. Some people don't care. They don't mind. So then we have to implement all these extreme measures to make it work. For instance, there's a company called ID.me that is being used by unemployment bureaus across the nation. The problem is that unemployment fraud, according to ID.me, now it's a commercial enterprise, so they want you to think it's a problem, but they say $400 billion a year in unemployment fraud. So companies are using ID.me with face recognition and official documents to confirm that you are who you say you are. But ID.me is apparently not working for people, which means even people who they're legitimate. They're legitimate unemployment benefits aren't getting them. This is a story from Vice.com. In Colorado, benefit recipients who had prior to this no problem establishing their identity, now that ID.me uses it, were suddenly rejected and went months without receiving payments they were eligible for. Also used in Florida, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Arizona, other states. So that's the problem. People game the system, and then you have to bring in this draconian system to kind of stop it, and then that's a problem. And are we ready for Windows 11? It's coming out this week, Thursday morning, 11 a.m. Get it? 11 a.m. Thursday morning, Microsoft will announce the next version of Windows. So this week it came out, it was leaked. There's a whole conspiracy about, was Windows 11 leaked by Microsoft to lower expectations? Maybe Microsoft was worried people were getting their hopes up about the, quote, new version of Windows, and said they wanted to damp down the excitement. Or, I don't think that's the case. Or maybe it just leaked out, which things happen. A big reason for Windows 11, in fact, some would say the reason for Windows 11 is to get people to buy new computers. In the Windows world, you check yourself on this. You don't get a new version of Windows until you get a new computer. You just run with the Windows it came with, and then eventually, and that's Microsoft's been fighting that. That's why they gave away Windows 10 for free for a year. They wanted everybody to upgrade. I think a lot of us did. But it wasn't our habit. The habit was, I'll use Windows 7 until I get a new computer, and it'll come with whatever the current version is, and that's what I'll do. So Microsoft's now thinking, well, but gosh, we haven't updated Windows in a long time. Maybe if we put out Windows 11, people will go to the store to buy a new computer. They're doing it for the PC industry. PC industry had a banner year, thanks to COVID last year. Best year almost ever. But that's because so many people went out and bought extra computers for the kids who had to use them for school, and maybe they needed a better computer for work, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it ended up being that last year was a good year, but now everybody's very nervous that 2021 is going to be a terrible year because that's what happens. Everybody goes out and buys computers in one year. the next year it's going to be kind of slow, right? That's how life works. So Microsoft's going to do something to try to make that better, like put out a new version of Windows. So we'll have I've looked at the pre-release, the leaked version, which, as I was about to say, probably came from a manufacturer who got it so they could, next week say, now with Windows 11. They've changed some things. For instance, and it's all, okay, first let me say this, all cosmetic. Under the hood, as far as we can tell, it's still Windows 10. It's the same Windows. So what they change is the look and feel. But, whenever you do that, people freak out, right? So are you going to freak out because all of a sudden the start menu, you know how you've got the start menu and all those little icons following that, on the left there? Starting with Windows 11, it's going to be in the middle, centered, kind of like a Macintosh. What? What? I think it looks nice. I think it makes sense, especially as screens get bigger and bigger, to move your mouse all the way to the left. It's bad enough you can move to the bottom. Now you got to move all the way to the bottom and the left just to get to the start menu. I think most people who use Windows a lot just don't even use the mouse to do that. They hit the Windows key. There's the menu. They type the first few letters and hit return, and that's that. Do you do that? Do you know that? See, that's kind of one of those things that people who use it a lot go, oh, here's the trick, and somebody tells you, and you go, oh, I'm never going to do it any other way. But now the unified, simplified, centered start menu, it's going to look a little different. Instead of square corners, they're slightly rounded. I look at this and go, so what, big deal? Minor changes. But that can throw people. In fact, businesses are saying we're not going to go to Windows 11 because we don't want to throw people. We don't want to retrain people to move the mouse to the middle or instead of the left. Anyway, we'll see this Windows 11. Microsoft will articulate a clear vision for why they wanted to change all this. But just between you and me, read between the lines. The clear vision is we got to sell more computers. This year's going to be terrible otherwise. Part of the problem is you can have people demanding them, but if you can't make them because of chip shortages, that doesn't matter. There will be a new Windows Store, Microsoft says. We haven't seen that in the leaked version, so new app stores coming as well. And they have lots of new sounds and really pretty wallpaper. It's all about the pretty wallpaper. The Apple has always got this nice wallpaper. Microsoft says, we need pretty wallpaper. So now, pretty wallpaper. Thursday, Windows 11 comes out. 8888 Ask Leo. There's a couple of things we could talk about. There's lots more. If you want to call and, ask me anything. Somebody sent me a T-shirt. I'll put it on. I bet you it's Retcon 5. I'm gonna say it says, ask me a printer question, then see what happens. No, but I'm going to say right now, you can ask me your printer questions too. 8888, ask Leo, the phone number. We'll go to the phones in just a moment. Let's talk high tech. What do you say? You and me. 888-827-5536. Oh, is this the Charlie's Angel? Oh, Wonder Woman. Here she is.
I didn't wear my cape.
Her lasso of truth. Wearing her cape, Wonder Woman Kim Schaffer, our phone angel. Hello, Kimmy.
Hi.
Good
How
to
are
see you.
You too.
I'm great.
I'm great too.
Yeah, happy Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth.
Juneteenth, officially a federal holiday now.
It is.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
It's very good.
Yes.
The world is changing in a good way.
It is in a very good, a very positive way. Your job, your mission, should you choose to accept it? Mm-hmm. And this message will self-destruct
I don't think I have a
in 30
choice.
seconds. Your well, no, you could walk out the door right now.
I don't do that.
No, you're not that kind of Wonder
girl.
Woman. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, to provide us with phone callers throughout the next 3 hours.
Yes.
What do you want? What do you want me to start with?
I want you to start with Walt in San Diego on line 4 because I have an unhealthy obsession with avocados, and he's an avocado farmer. And I just spent
Love avocados.
I spent 20 minutes talking to him offline about avocados.
I love avocados.
Growing. Yes, and
It's so odd that you should say that because
fascinating.
yesterday my son Hank put up a TikTok on avocado toast. Then
I'm not paying $12 for it, by the way, but I'll make my
well,
own.
you should see the avocado toast. Go, salt_Hank on TikTok. Salt_Hank
on
TikTok. And his most recent, it's the best looking avocado toast I've ever seen. You make it yourself. He gives you the recipe.
I was telling him people buy me avocado socks,
Love avocados.
stuff. Because they know how crazy I am. I have 20 avocado trees in my yard.
But did you know this? The avocado is poorly designed for the modern world because the pits are so big. There is no animal that can eat it. They were in their heyday during the era of the mastodon when those elephants would just swallow them all down, poop it out, and there you go. You got a perfect avocado plant. And now, well, I don't know. I'll ask Walt.
I want to eat them. I don't need the elephants.
Now Walt has to get involved in the whole reproductive process. Thank you, Kim. Hello, Walt.
Well, hi, Leo.
Do you have any mastodons on your avocado farm?
No, maybe at one time they were here. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
I love avocados. They are so good. So,
Well, there are some avocados that have small pits.
yeah, but who wants those? What kind do you grow?
Well, commercially we sell the Haas, but
Haas.
we have several varieties of cross-pollination.
Yeah, when I was a kid, we had to have 2 plants, one to cross-pollinate, right?
Well, you got to have at least 2 avocado
2
trees.
trees, yeah.
But it's best to have 3 or even 4.
Oh.
Because you need male and female in there,
Right.
know. So,
well, we had one guy, one gal. Anyway, what can I do for you?
well, I have tried to get on your show several times, and I've never been successful. So I heard the show coming on today. I'm driving, and I immediately called, and so I'm so thrilled.
Yay!
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, there's only about 30 seconds left, but don't worry. I'm going to keep you on the line because you worked so hard to get in. But what's your question?
My question is, I have high-tech controllers.
Yes.
And they've said, water is critical here because it's so expensive.
Of course.
And that's why ranchers are going out of business. But
Yep.
I took your advice years ago, and I got an AC 2900 Asus.
All right, hold on just a sec. I hear that music, which means I have to stop talking. But we will be back. Also, Scott Wilkinson coming up. So you have an Asus. What do you have?
It's an AC 2900 Asus router.
Yep.
But I need one that can get better range because I lose the connection to one of my controllers, and then
and then the watering stuff doesn't work. How far is the farthest stuff?
I'm going to say it's about 100 feet.
Yeah, it's right on the edge.
130 or 40 feet, but I lose connection on the camera once in a while too. But that's not as critical as my controller. I got to keep the controllers.
No, obviously,
because yeah.
So theoretically, the distance Wi-Fi will go is around 150 feet, but as you can see, you're right at the edge with 100 feet. And so it kind of it fades out. It probably comes and goes depending on weather conditions and things like that. So we want to get something. We want to get something in between the router and the controller. Ideally, we'd get a system, and this is probably where you're going to want to go with this: a mesh system that would.
Controllers won't work with mesh. I don't know why, but that's what the Hunter makes the controller, and they told me I couldn't use a mesh system. I don't know why.
That's interesting. Probably the problem they're having is with 5 gigahertz. I'm sure it'll work with. And in fact, that would be the first thing to do is make sure you're not even using the 5 gigahertz band. Orbi makes an outdoor. This is the other problem, of course, because once you get past the house, you're now outdoors, I'm sure. So you need something that could survive the
outside wall of the house. But, again, it's about 100 feet maybe from the controller.
You need something between that controller and the router. That's really the only answer. Speed isn't important. It's just connectivity. So the first thing you might try is telling that Asus not to do 5G, but just do 2.4, which travels farther. Make sure it has a clear line of sight to the controller. Is that the farthest controller? That's the one controller you need to reach?
You know, the funny thing is the other controller might be the same distance, but I never lose connection to that one.
So that's, yeah. So that's, this way, look, Wi-Fi is radio frequency, and radio frequency is voodoo, as any radio engineer will tell you. It's kind of black magic. It may be because of the router's positioning. So first thing I do is turn off 5 gigahertz. Are you using this for anything else, or is it dedicated to the controllers?
No, you know, our laptops.
Oh, this is your home router. Okay.
Right, yeah.
So 5 gigahertz is good for your home. Is not good for those controllers. It doesn't travel as far. It's more easily blocked by rain and things. So, and those controllers, the reason I suspect that the company's saying they don't want you to use mesh is because the controllers only work with 2.4. Most Internet of Things devices are 2.4 and will work much better with 2.4. That Asus you have, I think, does both 2 and 5. So, the other option would be but once you get past your wall, it's outside, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So ideally you don't want to put anything out there from the wall out. You want to just have the router serve it. The other thing you could do is get some directional antennas, and that might really be the best thing to do. Is to have, you know, I would start by repositioning your router and see if you can get better results. Turn off 5 gigahertz. Well, you can't do that, unfortunately, because you need it, don't you? And
I put the router up at 11 feet.
That's good.
On a little.
That helps.
That works. Yeah, that works much better than where it was before.
Yep. Position is important. There's a site you should know about, antennaweb.org. Actually, no, that's the wrong one. I'm sorry. That's for TV antennas. The one for Wi-Fi is radiolabs.com. I got to run. Hang on. How are you today? Did you know that our show is quite literally brought to you by CashFly? It's our content delivery network. It's a CDN. It's the best CDN, and I've been on a bunch of them. We've been on CashFly for more than 10 years. When the podcast network started, that was really the biggest problem we had to solve, is how do we get the podcast to our listeners? And we tried everything. Bandwidth provided for a while by AOL. We tried everything, and it was really great. Matt Levine, more than 10 years ago now, about 12 years ago, called me and said, let me help you. He's the founder of CashFly, and it's transformed our lives. That's why you never have a problem if there's a problem getting our podcasts, it's either us or your setup, but it's never CashFly. They're remarkable. And now they offer something very cool, ultra low latency streaming. I'm not talking WebRTC. We've tried that. That's not great. Stream delays on CashFly's ULS less than 1 second. But there's more. You can play anywhere. They have a great HTML5 player that offers easy support anywhere. There's an SDK, great mobile support, whether you need your player to run on websites, applications, mobile devices, any platform, they've got you covered. And, of course, CashFly is global, with points of presence all over the world, 50 of them. It's the fastest CDN for throughput globally. And on their low-latency network, your video streams will go quick anywhere you have viewers. Doesn't matter what continent there's on. It is amazingly scalable. You can get more than 1 million concurrent users. Wow. In just thousands of synchronous streams. It's designed for transmuxing thousands of streams simultaneously, live failover, RTMP, RTMPS, SRT, delivering low latency, ultra low latency, SLDP, and HLS streams at the same time. And you'll get a solution that's just right for you. Get a custom-built solution based on your unique needs with the best support ever, and I can vouch for that. I love these guys. CashFly. They pioneered the first Anycast CDN infrastructure in 2002. Their best top technology automatically finds the fastest route to and from customer origin. across their global network of POPs for maximum performance and reliability. I want you to check them out. In fact, no pressure, no hard sales pitch, but you can get a detailed analysis of your current bill and usage trends, and they can show you if you can save as much as 20% or even more. Go to twit.cashfly.com to find out more. These guys have been great for us. We love them. You will love them too. twit.cashfly.com. Thank you, Cashfly. Salute. He is hip. He is Scott Wilkinson, our home theater guru. We'll get back to our avocado farm and its Wi-Fi problems in just a little bit.
I love avocado.
Well, who doesn't, Really, who doesn't? But I am going to help him a little bit more once we talk about home theater. But we've got Scott Wilkinson here. We've got to talk home theater. Scott is a regular contributor at TechHive.com. Joins us every week. What's up in your world?
Well, I wanted to tell you about a really interesting demo I saw last week of a true holographic display.
Oh my!
Yeah. Now I know you are not a big 3D fan. And I know why. Because the 3D that we've seen so far in theaters and in TVs is now gone again for like the third time. But it's uncomfortable.
It's you got to wear glasses. It's dimmer.
Yep.
It takes you out of the experience. And then movie directors put in special 3D moments.
Yes. but it's ultimately inherently uncomfortable because it invokes what's called a high cognitive load, which means your brain has to work hard. What it's doing is it's presenting two-dimensional images, one to each eye, and your brain has to fuse those together. And it's not the same as looking out into the real world.
Okay.
So you have this thing, you have something called vergence accommodation conflict. So vergence is when you're looking at something close, your eyes kind of angle in so that you're seeing it. And when they're far away, the eyes angle out. Then there's accommodation, which is really focus. Where are your eyes focused? And you can change the vergence, the angle of your eyes, and not the focus because everything's really on a 2D plane. And that causes headaches and a high cognitive load. It makes your brain work harder.
Yes.
So it's ultimately uncomfortable. And that's why it has never been successful, even though they've tried time and again since the 50s and before to make 3D work. It really doesn't work.
It feels kind of gimmicky.
Well, what you need is something that is truly holographic. Now, you've probably seen holograms, right?
Well, you and I at CES, last CES, which was January 2020, saw...
19.
No, 2020. Saw...
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Saw this kind of glasses-free stuff that is actually now being used. Google showed this off at Google I/O this month, or last month, where they showed it actually, doing a big, Zoom call, but on a big screen, and it looked like the person was 3D because they were doing this light field projection thing.
Right, exactly. And that is what I saw last week. Now, light field is the technical term for it. This company that I saw the demo from called Avalon Holographics prefers to use the term hologram or holographic because everybody knows what that is. You've heard of holograms. Very few people have heard of light fields, but they're really the same thing. So what it is, when you look out in the real world, you see objects. You see light reflecting off of objects. And the light that reflects off these objects hits your eye from a particular angle. And it hits each eye at a slightly different angle. And so if you can replicate that effect, if you can replicate the directionality of the light rays, of the reflected light rays that are coming at you from different directions, you can recreate the exact same experience. It's like when Einstein said with the difference between gravity and acceleration, there is none.
Yeah.
It's really the same.
But that
things.
really that makes it so much clearer. Thank you for throwing Einstein in. You've really clarified things a lot.
Well, it's the same thing.
So basically, what you're saying is it simulates the real experience of looking at something in the real world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can't really tell the difference in an ideal system. Now, the system
the
that
ones
I
we
saw,
looked at, you had to put your head in a box practically.
in a vice.
Yeah, it wasn't ideal. But
No,
then
this
this Google
is
one looks
not
better.
that.
I'm sure it's very expensive. So what did you see?
Well, I saw a 29-inch monitor, essentially.
Yeah.
That and this was an early prototype, so I had to keep that in mind. This is an early prototype. They had actually it's a rear projection system. They had an array of Pico projectors, these little tiny projectors that were about, I think it was 24 by 24 grid of off-the-shelf Pico projectors, each with a resolution of roughly 800 by 600. Then they had a lens system, an optical system that the projectors went through that actually created, you're familiar with pixels, obviously, picture elements, the number of pixels on a screen. Well, in a holographic system, those are called hogels, holographic elements. No, it's
Okay.
a different
I'll
nomenclature.
go with it.
I mean, you could call them, I suggested Hoxels, H-O-X-E-L, and they said, well, Hogels is kind of what we've specified. So, okay, that's what it is. So from each Hogel, from each holographic element, you get a certain number of light rays coming out. And those light rays, the directionality is controlled by this optical system. And they showed some pictures of say, for example, there was a boat. And you looked at one angle and you couldn't see the roof of the top of the boat, and then you stand up a little bit and by God you can see the roof, and you move to the left a little bit, you can see through the window, so you can actually see around objects because they are actual 3D models. The first consumer application, which is going to be several years down the line, is they're already working with what are the game companies? Unity and Unreal Engine.
Unreal and Unity, yeah.
Yeah, those are the two that they're working with. And because video games already have all of the stuff that's in them, all the things you see, is already 3D, has 3D data.
They have the data, that's right.
They have the data already, so that's going to be relatively easy to render. The first applications of this are going to be medical. Really, because they showed me pictures of MRI scans, and you can look into the interior of the brain and move around. And so in preparation for surgery, for example, you can see exactly where you need to go with your surgery tools to do what you need to do. Up till now, they've done things as bizarre as 3D print the area that they need to work on so that they can look at it in 3D. Now you don't have to. You can just look at it on this screen, and you can go around here and say, oh, I can see from this angle it needs to be here. And, oh, I didn't see that over at this angle it was obscured by this. So it was very, very impressive. I mean...
Well, wait a minute. Did you see it in person?
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
I did. I went down. This was one of the first journalist things I actually went to.
So you're sitting... So tell me what it's like. You're sitting in a room looking at a monitor.
At a screen, a monitor, 29-inch monitor.
Your head's not in a box?
Nope.
You can move around?
You can move around.
And
you can move around, up, down,
and how far
side
away
to
is
side.
the screen?
You need
arm's
to
length?
Yeah, well, a little more than arm's length.
Okay. And then as you move around, you can it's clear. It feels like you're looking at a 3D object. Does it feel like the real world?
Well, not quite. Not in this early prototype, anyway. This is an early alpha prototype. When they get to a beta prototype, it's going to look a lot better. They said they have like 230 million individual light rays coming out of this thing. But to get real fidelity, true lifelike fidelity, you need 100,000 or millions of rays.
So they've
working
got a ways
to
go.
I
think this is similar to what Google has done as well. So very interesting. Scott Wilkinson, he's our home theater geek, and he's geeking out on this. So what? Now Einstein said that gravity
and acceleration are the same
thing. Okay. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Just wanted to clarify. He also said energy and mass are the same thing.
Exactly.
So it's all the same thing.
It's all the same thing.
Yeah, just ask me about printers, okay? I'm just all I'm saying. Hey, that's fascinating. Thank you, Scott. Hang on.
Sure.
You're going to get your time. Can you stay to the top of the hour as well?
You betcha.
All righty. All right.
Happy to do it.
Clock in here. And you can go.
So,
right
yeah,
ahead.
the point I was trying to make there is there's no difference between gravity and acceleration, and there's no difference between seeing something in real life and seeing a good high-fidelity holographic
It would be the
image.
same. I get what you're saying, yeah.
They're the same.
Yeah.
You can't distinguish them.
Right.
There's no
Right.
difference.
I get that. That makes sense.
Yeah. So...
All right.
It's the same as the analogy I give for the cost of electronics, of consumer electronics, audio, video electronics in particular. As you spend more money, you get better quality, generally, not always, but generally. And then at a certain point, that levels off, and you can spend a ton more money and only get a small increment in quality, which is exactly analogous to particle accelerators. You pump more energy into them, and you get these particles going faster and faster and faster. But as you get to a certain point, you can pump in tons more energy and only get a tiny increment faster of the particles. So it's an apt analogy, I believe. So anyway, hello, everybody. K Woods, did I get FiOS yet? No, not yet. I've been checking on the AT&T website, and they still say it's not available in my area, so they haven't turned it on yet. Grrr. But I'm hopeful. I assume it'll be soon. Einstein says spending an hour of fun feels like a minute. That's true. Time is relative. Time flies when you're having fun. Fruit flies like a banana. That's a quote actually from my friends, the Karamazov brothers. Anybody here remember the Karamazov brothers? Jugglers extraordinaire. They were actually featured in the second movie with Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner. The first one was Romancing the Stone, and the second one was Jewel of the Nile. And the Karamazov brothers were featured very highly, very strongly in the second movie, Jewel of the Nile. And the Karamazov brothers and I all went to school together, and they started their juggling in Santa Cruz.
Oh, that's cool.
And
I didn't know that. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
The flying.
Yeah.
The flying Karamazov.
The flying Karamazov brothers, exactly. Yeah. We used to go down to the Pacific Garden Mall. You remember the Pacific Garden Mall?
Till the earthquake hit,
Till the earthquake hit, and it's still there. They rebuilt it. But
it was more
we used
fun
to go
the
down
old
there.
way. Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the Karamazovs, Howard Patterson, and I and our friend Steve Wilson used to play trombone trios while Paul Majid,
that's hysterical.
The other original Karamazov, was juggling. And we
so
would
you're
play
an honorary
for
member,
shapes.
really?
I am. I am. Absolutely.
Nice.
No question about it.
Very nice. Very nice.
Oh, hey, Leo, I got a question for you.
Yes. You got 30 seconds.
Okay, I'm about to buy a new laptop, and I was trying to decide between the MacBook Air M1 and the MacBook Pro.
It's exactly the same. The only difference is the MacBook Pro is a little more room, so the battery's a little bigger, and there's a fan.
There's a fan.
But the processor, the RAM, everything else is identical.
I think I'm going to go with the Air and save.
I think the Air is the right way to go. It also doesn't have that stupid touch bar, which is nice. All right,
That's
Scott,
nice.
you're going to hang in for the top?
You betcha.
Thank you, sir. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Phone number 8888 Ask Leo. Walt, the avocado farmer, is on. And just to recap, Walt has a conundrum. He's got a lot of... How many avocado trees do you have?
Well, we have several hundred.
Oh, my gosh. I'm so jealous. Are you sick to death of avocados?
No.
I love them. The problem is they all kind of come in at once, so it's not.
Well, and that's not actually the Fortes we pick in the spring.
Oh, that's nice. You have different ones for different.
We pick. Yeah, Haas we pick in June, and sometimes we'll pick them even coming into Cinco de Mayo. but the price gets better after Cinco de Mayo, so I hold off on the Haas.
Nice.
And then in the fall, we have what are called Lam Haas. They're not quite as good, but they're not bad. So, yeah, we have different varieties that come into...
Well, thank goodness for you, because ever since the mastodons went extinct, nothing else has been spreading the avocado. So we got to have the farmers. But
that they're tropical fruit, and this is a Mediterranean climate. So it never really...
We had them in Santa Cruz, and I loved it that we had our own avocado tree. So the Asus router you have can be tuned up. So we've determined that the water controllers that he needs to reach, which are 100 feet, the farthest one's 100 feet away. One works fine at 100 feet, one doesn't. And you've already put it on a pole, which is a great idea to get it higher up. But there are some other things you can do to tune that particular router. Now, I mentioned radiolabs.com, which will allow you to, if you want, investigate things like amplifiers and secondary antennas. You could have a directional antenna aimed at that controller that would certainly solve the problem. But Beatmaster in our chat room says there are some settings inside the Asus router that might help. If you just take a notes on these, we'll put it in the chat in the website, Tech Guy Labs website as well, but techguylabs.com. Beatmaster says, and he's pretty good in this stuff. Turn off universal beam forming. One would think that would help, but he says turn it off. Setting the control channel manually and lower the channel bandwidth to 20 to 40 megahertz. Now, actually, is it Alberta Guru who came up with this? I'm not sure. But so the changing the channels manually requires some work on your part. You need to actually go check, and you could do this on a laptop, or you could do it on an Android phone. It doesn't work on iPhones because they don't give you access to the Wi-Fi strength. But on an Android phone, there are apps you can download. There's one I use on Windows called Insider with 2 S's that will let you map the channels in use, and that could be part of the problem. Do you have anybody nearby that's using Wi-Fi?
You mean as far as a neighbor?
Yeah.
They're very far away.
Okay. So you don't see any other Wi-Fi signals at all out there?
I can see them, but...
okay. So that's something to pay attention to, because that can cause interference. Choosing a channel they're not using is another way you can fix this problem. I don't think, given how far away the neighbors are, the fact you can see them, though, means especially, they might be a little closer to that controller. No.
They're close to them. Going one way, it's, almost a half mile.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it.
They're several thousand feet away.
Okay, I wouldn't worry about it. But so lowering the bandwidth and finding the appropriate channel may or may not help you, but these are things you can try. Turn off universal beam forming. You might want to look, because one of the reasons I recommend those Asus routers is they're highly configurable. And so there's settings in that router setting that might help you. And you can look online, maybe go to Reddit or other forums to see what people are recommending to maximize the reach of that Asus router.
You wouldn't recommend an Asus router, though, huh?
Say again?
You wouldn't recommend going to a router, an Asus router that has a more, reach.
Well, in this case, there isn't going to be anything that's going to work better for you. I suspect those controllers are on 2.4 gigahertz using Wi-Fi 5, not 6. So there are, or maybe even Wi-Fi 3 or 4, because those chips are cheaper. So that's what you put in IoT devices. Wi-Fi 5 and even more so Wi-Fi 6 is designed to be longer range, but both ends have to support it. My guess is that, you could ask the company that makes it, but my guess is that thing is the Wi-Fi radio in that controller is pretty primitive. So getting
these controllers will do incredible things. I can tell it. For example.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they put a high-end Wi-Fi chip in it. They're going to cut costs where they can. and one of the ways you cut costs is you put a simpler Wi-Fi. IoT never has a fancy those IoT devices never have Wi-Fi. Very rarely. I've never seen Wi-Fi or 5 or 6 in those. And that's why we say don't even use 5 gigahertz for it. It's 2.4 gigahertz. That's probably why it doesn't work with a mesh router. So that's one thing you can do. I don't know if there's a router that's going to work better for you. I would go to Radiolabs and read up on the antennas. You can get an external antenna that you can aim at that controller that would absolutely solve the problem. So I can't think of a router that would give you better range. Going to Wi-Fi 5 and 6 give you better range. What we used to call AX, 802.11 and AX, but they decided that was too complicated. So now that's just Wi-Fi 5. And then there's a newer one, even than Wi-Fi 5, there's 6. And I think there's even a newer one than 6. But again, it's no point if your controller doesn't support it. So, 6 or 6E or whatever it is, the next generation, I wouldn't worry about it. The Orbis do support it, but they're mesh routers, and that's, they have incredible range. But
is right here where I live, just down the road a ways, and you can call. Because they have my program. Once you program this thing, they have it right there. If you're having a problem, because each one of these controllers has 54 stations. So if I've got a problem overlapping or something and I can't figure it out, I call them. They put it up on their big board, so they're great. So I can call them and they'll let me know.
Yeah, I would ask them. I say, what's the highest, level of Wi-Fi your controllers support, and then get the router that supports that level of Wi-Fi. That is one thing that Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi folks are improving is range. But, there's a limit to the amount of power and so forth. I think putting on the pole was the best thing you could do. And again, the next thing you could do is get a range booster from Radiolabs and an antenna from Radiolabs. They make these things, and they're designed specifically. In fact, a lot of them are designed for ag because this is a common problem.
Well, Asus makes one, but I read the reviews on it, and they were mixed.
Yeah, I don't like extenders. That's what you're looking at. Although for this situation, it'd be all right. The problem is, where would you put it? You'd want to put it midway between the router and the controller. Is that out in a field? You can do that.
No. There's a controller at each end of my house on the outside wall. And the router is about in the middle.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, I would ask them why they say mesh doesn't work, because in that case, mesh would absolutely help. Or even another thing would be to look at, and I think this might be, I didn't realize that the controllers are actually on the wall there on the house. TP-Link makes something called power line networking. And it uses the power lines in your house. So at the router, rather the cable modem or the DSL modem, you'd plug into the wall one of these TP-Link power line adapters, and then next to the controller, you'd plug in the other end, and it has Wi-Fi on it. And you have the Wi-Fi. In effect, it's like you're giving Ethernet to that controller. So that'd probably be a better solution for you. I didn't realize the controller. I imagined they were out in the avocado fields, but they're on the house.
Oh, they're right on the house.
Yeah, but that makes sense. And the irrigation lines come from them. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, they're hardwired to the valves from
Okay. So, I'd look at power line. So TP-Link, this is the least expensive solution, and it's most likely the one that's going to work for you.
Okay, great.
All right? It's so important. We want your avocados, Walt, that I'm willing to go to any length to get these to work.
Well, we'll do our best, and I appreciate it. I do like that router. It solves so many other problems.
Yeah, they're great routers. And you could go in there and just play with some of those settings and see if, turning off things like beamforming might make a big difference. Walt, thank you for your service. If
we lose connection and it's supposed to water, let's say it's Monday.
Oh, that's bad. I understand. Oh, yeah. And we're in a major drought. That's the other thing. I want to make sure I want to support you in using the right amount of water. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More calls right after this.
Thank you so very much.
In that window.
Oh man,
I can go back to TikTok. We can do some more Salt Hank if you want.
No, that's all right.
Okay.
Avocado toast. How delightful. So, hey, everybody. Nice to see you all, as always. I got a question here from user 8164. Can you look into the Onkyo RZ50 AV receiver and report on a future show? Solves what is it? Solves a HDMI 2.1 chip bug issue.
Oh,
Well,
I just bought a new Denon for one reason only, because apparently, if you don't have Atmos, Apple will not turn on the spatial audio.
Oh no!
On the Apple TV, that is the decoding that it's doing
for spatial audio.
For spatial audio. And I went back and forth because you should but that's I guess how they're doing it. So I just bought myself.
So you had
just
an inexpensive Denon.
Well, it's not that inexpensive. I don't want a really cheap one.
Yeah, no, I get it. Well, and certainly you can get them that are just 5.1 or just 7.1.
Yeah, but that's the problem. And I don't know if you can get a cheap one that's Atmos.
No,
so I have 5.1. That's the thing. It's such a waste.
Oh.
I have a fairly recent 7.1. But I had to go out and buy the AVR X1600H.
1600. Yep. That's a great receiver.
Well, it'll be wonderful, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's going to be with the ELAC surround.
Oh, man.
So it'll be nice.
That's going to be awesome. Yeah.
I bought the 2019 model. That saved me, I guess, a little bit. But maybe I should have got a new model. I don't know. I don't see a new model.
I don't think there is one in that price range. I've been looking at AV receivers lately myself because a friend of mine is moving into a new house and wanted my advice about what to get. So that was one of them that I suggested.
Mike says, I have to get the dongle from Denon. What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Dongle for what?
Yeah, it should have.
I'm not getting upward firing speakers. I'm but I need that decoding.
Right. Mike Height made this comment, and what do you mean?
What do you mean, Mike?
It's just going to use
HDMI from the Apple TV into it.
I don't think it's 2.1. To tell you the truth, if it's a 2019 model, then it's not.
Probably not
HDMI
2.1. Right. It says advanced. HDCP 2.3.
Okay, that's the latest copy protection.
I don't care. It says, I know. It says 4K UHD.
Yeah.
It says Dolby Atmos, height virtualization. See, that's what they're doing. They're doing
height virtualization.
Some sort of virtualization.
So if you don't have up-firing or ceiling speakers...
Well, it's a cathedral ceiling, so I'm not going to... I'd actually have to install them in the ceiling, which I'm not going to do. Yeah.
You would, yeah.
Or put them on a long pole.
I've thought of that. For a cathedral ceiling, I have thought about making a long pole and put the overhead speakers at the right height. That would be the best solution for a cathedral ceiling. But what a pain.
Mike says because it's 2019, it's HDMI 2.0. The dongle is needed for the newer ones.
2.1.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
To fix the whatever bug. So I'm glad I didn't get that. I walked into this, ignorant. Do I need 2.1 for anything? What do I need that for?
I don't think so. 2.1 is a higher bandwidth. It does eARC, audio return.
This says it does eARC.
Okay, and 2.0 can do eARC.
Yeah,
but it can't. It may not do low latency game.
Oh, that new low latency is very cool for
right,
yeah.
Right, or variable frame rate.
Yeah, I don't care because it's going to be on that Hisense projector. It's not exactly.
Yeah, you don't need variable frame rate on that. You're not going to be able to do it.
So anyway, I'm doing it just because I want Apple's spatial audio, which I'm going to deeply regret, I'm sure.
Well, I'm very interested to hear what you think once you get that.
Yeah,
I have an Atmos receiver myself, and one of these days I'll try Apple Spatial Audio. But what I was going to say originally was the fellow who asked. The person who asked about the Onkyo RZ50, I just found an article on audioholics.com about how Onkyo, which bought Pioneer consumer audio, so those brands have been in some serious financial trouble. Serious. They could easily have gone into bankruptcy and may still. But this Audioholics article is saying that they actually look like they might be coming back. They're not. Don't count them out yet. And they talk about the TX RZ50 7.2.2 receiver, 7 HDMI inputs and 2 out, which will retail for $10.99. So a little on the expensive side, but not bad. Even the TX NR5100 5.2.2, so it's Atmos, for $500. So Audioholics says that Onkyo and Pioneer look for a strong 2021. I hope that's true. Audioholics makes the point, and I agree with them. Better to have more brands than less. And Onkyo has been a long-term brand that has been very good. I've recommended them many, many times. So here's hoping. Here's hoping. Let's see here. The dongle from Denon. That could be a good song. Beatmaster asks, will Dune be the first movie you return to the theaters for? Yeah, maybe. I'm certainly looking forward to it, although what was it, the one in the 80s with Sting and Kyle, what's his name? It was so awful. McLaughlin, yeah, that's right. He's so awful. That movie was just so bad.
Scott,
anyway,
thank you.
My pleasure. See you next week.
Bye-bye. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. I want to talk high tech with you. So let's do it. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, you can use Skype to call us. There is a website, so you don't have to write anything down as you listen. Just put it, aim your browser at techguylabs.com, and you'll be able to see everything we talked about, all the notes, links, and all of that. Richard's on the line from Westlake Village, California. Hello, Richard. Welcome. You're on.
Well, I'm sure this is your second favorite topic behind printers.
Oh, go ahead. Just fire away. What is the next topic? What's second worst?
Maybe I'll have to send you a new T-shirt. Windows login password problem.
Oh, you're right. Right up there with the printer problems. So what's going on?
So I am trying to resurrect mother-in-law's computer. It's an HP all-in-one. I believe it's 2018 vintage. And because of her inability to do electronic things anyway, I'm sure somebody helpful set it up for her and did the Windows password rather than a local password. So when I turn it on, it says, put in your password, which I obviously do not know, and went to do the password reset on there, and it says, fill in the email associated with your account, which I did, and it says, okay, if this is associated, we'll send you a code. Well, I did that 7 or 8 times and never got a code.
The code would go to that address, the Outlook.com address.
Right.
So it's not associated. So it
is. For whatever reason, the whatever app it is on the computer that does this password for Windows isn't communicating with Microsoft. Because I went to my computer, went in the long way through Microsoft, went into the account, got the password reset on my computer, but her computer still does not communicate. So I'm just stuck with nothing, and it's not communicating with Microsoft. So I don't know why that's happening, and I don't know of a way to force it to do anything.
Does she have something on the computer that she can't afford to lose that's not backed up?
No, not that I'm aware of. And,
all right, this would be a good time, because who knows what that guy did to her computer? For one thing. That always makes me nervous. Some guy came in, and now I can't log in. That's not Good. So when you set up Windows, it used to be you could use a local password. You have to go through hijinks to get a local password these days, and Windows 11 is going to eliminate that completely. Microsoft wants you to use your Microsoft account to log in. And one of the reasons Microsoft does this is because they have a recovery process, because people so frequently forget their Windows 10 password. And now with Windows 10, it's much more secure. It's a little harder to hack it. So I think that's why they're requiring it. It sounds to me, you sure he didn't do a local one, that it's definitely an Outlook.com account, a Microsoft account to log in?
Yeah, well, as sure as I can be, it's had the correct email address associated to it.
So when you click it, it says her name at Outlook.com, sort of like that, right?
It's Yahoo, not Outlook, but yeah. So
yeah,
anyway,
that's different. So that's not a Microsoft account. So a Microsoft account will end at Outlook.com.
Okay, well,
so when you turn on Windows and it says log in, it shows a email with Yahoo.com?
Yes.
All right, let me ask the Brain Trust. My experience with Windows has been that the Windows account you have has an Outlook.com address. Is it possible? But on the other hand, with Apple, you can't have any arbitrary email address be your Apple account. Is it possible? Okay, a Microsoft account can be any address. Okay, so that you can use Yahoo as your address. And you're saying that when you ask for a password recovery, it's just not going through.
Correct.
Yeah.
So last week, I went ahead, while I was listening to your show last week, I went ahead and did what I thought was the nuclear option, went in through Windows and did the troubleshoot reset, and it went through the whole process, 45 minutes to reinstall Windows, I thought. But when it was all done, it came back up with this password screen.
So it wasn't fully nuclear. You you did the neutron bomb one where it preserved her account, and that's still there. The fully nuclear one would be to go to Microsoft.com, get the Win 10 media creation utility, put Windows 10 installer on a USB key. You might be able to do this with a recovery partition too. That's what you did. But make sure at least look and see if there's an option when you use the recovery partition to nuke the existing accounts. You want to erase the whole computer. If it doesn't give you that option using the same recovery process you went through this time, you can download Windows 10 and really nuke it, like delete everything and start over again. And that's, I think, not a bad idea. Who is this guy that she had come in?
No idea.
Okay. So remember that even though she used a Yahoo email address, it's a Microsoft password you're changing, not the Yahoo password, right?
Right. Now, I got into her Microsoft account on my computer and changed the password.
Oh, good.
It is.
Okay.
But it's still
But you still can't log in that way.
Right.
Yeah, so maybe it isn't, maybe something else is wrong. Maybe something else has worked on this. Whoever the wise guy is who did this maybe did not solve the problem completely. Maybe he created more problems is what I'm thinking.
Clearly.
So I'm glad you're able to get to the recovery process. There is, as I remember, there was a fork in the road where you could say preserve the user account and data and not.
Well, what I got was preserve your files on the computer, or remove all of your files, and that's the one I chose.
And you chose remove all your files, but it preserved the accounts.
Apparently, yes.
That's bizarre.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
I think what you want, given that she has nothing on there she has to have, is it came from the factory this way. Hey, welcome to your brand new computer. And she could set the whole thing up, and maybe you should set it up for her so that you have the password, the login, the whole thing, in case she forgets. There are other ways around this. I'm not sure it's a password problem, I guess is what I'm saying. It feels like something else is going on because you reset the password. That's what's puzzling to me. And her what you know now to be her actual Microsoft account password isn't working. So I'm wondering if there's something else going on, like maybe he created his own account. But you'll never know, will you? Because
No, I don't know.
we don't know who this guy is.
Right.
I think it's time to nuke it. I really do. And nuke it from space. So if you can't find a way to completely reset it to the factory state, then I think you can just download the Windows 10 installer from Microsoft and do it from a USB key. That's going to guarantee you, you could even delete the partitions and start all over again.
The actual nuclear option.
The true nuclear option. You merely used a neutron bomb.
Okay. I didn't know that.
I didn't know either. In fact, I'm not going to do it right now, but I'm pretty sure that gives you the option to, what you want is to reset the computer to the factory state, to like it just came from the thing, and then I don't know. There are ways to get around this. There's hidden administrator passwords and things like that. I'm not sure on a Windows 10. If it's a newer computer, which it is, it's going to can't come with Windows 10. And I think a lot of the tricks people used to get around the password in the old days no longer work because Microsoft's always trying to make things more secure. Set it up with a Microsoft account and maybe just have to start over. The other option is to create a new account, but you can't get into an administrator account. So
No.
yeah. So you're stuck. Yeah. Well, as far as I know, the best thing to do would be download the Windows Media Creation tool, put it on a USB drive. You could do that from your home. Bring it over. Say, "Okay, lady, time to pave the roads."
To truly nuke it. Okay.
Truly nuke it. I think so. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad there's nothing important on there, because that makes it. That's the ones where I really go, "Oh, we're in trouble." So, Richard, is the internet off on that computer, do you think? I see you're still there.
Yeah, I'm here.
The chat room keeps saying, well, maybe the internet's not working on that computer.
It's been doing what I assume to be a Windows update last week. It took a long time to do it.
I mean, I guess if there were no internet access, that could be it. I have to run, but I just thought I'd ask you that. It's interesting. I don't know. I think the consensus is we don't know what happened. So you should nuke it. It's Saturday. Yeah. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Johnny Jet, travel guru, coming up in just a little bit. Meanwhile, Jody is on the line from Los Angeles. Hi, Jody.
Hey, afternoon. How are you doing today?
I am well. How are you?
I'm good. So great to hear about the Flying Kamaradzov brothers. I've been a huge fan, following them for years as well. So I knew there was something wrong with Scott, and now I know what it is.
So this was off the air. So for people listening to the radio, he, I guess, went to school in Santa Cruz with him and knew him well. And they were a great juggling act. They were a comedy juggling act. Very funny.
Yeah, truly one of the most entertaining things I have.
I agree.
And you don't have to like juggling to love them. I mean,
yeah. To say they're a juggling act kind of demeans them.
Yes, exactly.
It was so much more.
If you can find them performing somewhere, you'll be well served by going to catch them. And and I'm so glad to hear that it's perfectly acceptable to have printer questions. So I'm anxious to see what's going to happen.
Well, that's the thing. The T-shirt says, it doesn't say anything negative. It just says, ask me a printer question and see what happens. So go ahead.
See, that sounds threatening.
I don't know. I didn't make it. Somebody sent it to an anonymous listener sent it to me. So I don't know.
Yeah, anonymous for a good reason.
What's your printer question? I'll survive.
Thank you. You and I spoke briefly last week, and I got one of two questions answered, but unfortunately the answer didn't work yet.
Oh, shoot.
So we'll come back to that later, and I'll try to be respectful of the time of other callers here with that. But the first one is the one I didn't get answered because you got busy, and I'm just going to blame it on you, so like everybody else. I need a printer. I need to replace my printer. I've got one that's pretty old that tells me that the drum is ending soon, and it's getting kind of long in the tooth. And it would be nice to have something that can also print color. We're not going to be doing photos. I don't need something that's terribly accurate. Just every now and again, I'll get like, here's a map you need to follow to get there. Follow the red line.
Yeah.
Would be nice to have.
We call that business color as opposed to high-quality photo color.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, don't want to spend tons of money. Most of the stuff we're doing here is printing recipes, printing up a call time sheet. I work in the film business, so
nice.
It's like printing up one of those. So sometimes color would be nice. We're not doing huge volumes of stuff. I know your EcoTank printers are highly recommended. In fact, a buddy of mine who was listening last week, probably listening today, and if you are, hey, Jeff, he said they bought an EcoTank printer based on your recommendation and love it.
Good.
However, the price on that particular one is a lot more than I want to spend.
They're expensive. The other negative everybody should know about inkjet, and Epson's always says to me, don't say this because we specially coat the heads and it doesn't happen. But I have several EcoTanks. It happens. If you don't print regularly with an inkjet, it will get clogged. And then you'll have to run through the clog nozzle process, which uses a lot of ink and doesn't always work. I think for low duty, an ink. In fact, the only reason to really get an inkjet is if high quality color is an important thing for you, because laser printers now don't have that clogging problem. Do what we call business color, the kind of color you're talking about. They're a lower cost per page because you get a toner cartridge that goes for 5,000 pages. They're much more convenient, I think. So I would look at an inexpensive laser printer, and there are a number of companies that make these. A color laser printer is going to be a couple $100. It's not going to be as cheap as an inkjet. But remember, the reason inkjets are inexpensive is because they're going to get you on the ink.
Right.
So I'm a kind of, for me, I'm a fan of laser. The quality's a little bit better. You know, you can now get black and white laser printers for $100. They used to be, I mean, I bought the first Apple laser printer. You know, was thousands of dollars. It was very expensive, but what a breakthrough it was. For $200, you can get a Brother color laser printer, 19 pages a minute, and you know, you buy the cartridges and they last a good long time, unlike an inkjet. And you don't have to print every day to make sure it's not going to get plugged up. So.
And we haven't had that issue with the inkjet before. I guess we.
Well, you print enough. It sounds like, yeah.
Yeah.
So in which case. I still would go with Epson. Some of the other guys, Canon makes good inkjet, but some of the other guys have started doing things like putting copy protection chips in their ink cartridges, so you have to buy the more expensive cartridge from them. You can't buy the inexpensive third-party cartridges, things like that. Right. So I don't like the shenanigans. Epson does not do that. You don't have to get an EcoTank from them, but the nice thing about the EcoTank is you don't have to buy cartridges all the time. Cartridges also, let's not forget, there's a lot of waste in those big plastic things that run out pretty quickly.
That's true.
Yeah.
Do you have a specific laser printer in mind?
I like Brother a lot. I think that's the kind I have at home.
Yeah.
I would recommend them. They make a $200 color laser printer, which I think is quite good, the 3210. But they have a variety of color printers. Now you can go to an office store like Office Depot or Staples or Office Max and actually look. You can even see it print. It's an amazing thing. 19 pages a minute is pretty darn fast. I think they're good. I'm a kind of a fan of laser printing long term.
Does it also have a flatbed scanner on it by chance?
It is. That one is not what they call. Oh, actually, I don't know if it's an all-in-one. They do make an all-in-one. That's what they call all-in-ones. Let me see. Here's a all-in-one. Somebody's put a link to an all-in-one that they really like from a Brother as well, I believe. So yeah, they make them. So yeah, if that's another thing, and you know what? You sounds like you're running your business really out of there.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably a worthwhile thing to do is get the all-in-one because you can scan, you can copy, you can fax, And as long as you don't need photorealistic reproduction, a laser printer is fine. It doesn't do photos well, obviously.
Sure.
Brother has a Work Smart color all-in-one. Wow, wait a minute. No, that's an inkjet. Never mind. Yeah, for some reason the all-in-ones tend to be inkjets. I guess because they can keep the cost down.
Yeah. Well, we do have the need to occasionally scan something.
It sounds like really you should look at an EcoTank. I know they're a little more expensive, but that's because they come with a couple of years of ink in the box. So that's the upfront cost, you know. I think probably, given everything you've told me, look at an EcoTank from Epson. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Because, you know, if you figured out the cost of 2 years of ink for those things, the cost is not that bad. I remember when I talked to Epson and they said that we were going to announce this EcoTank, they said we're worried because the upfront cost is higher. And we're not sure people will figure out that the reason it's higher is because you're going to save over the 2 years because you don't have to buy ink for 2 years. And it turned out people did recognize that. But you're exactly what they were worried about. Yeah, but the upfront cost is high.
Yeah.
I think the Epson EcoTank all-in-ones are great, and especially since you print enough that you're not going to have any clogging issues. If you print, you know, a couple of pages a week, you're going to be fine.
I have a buddy who's listening to the show who heard me on here, and he just texted me.
He likes his.
And he's got a similar kind of setup. He's got an HP OfficeJet Pro 9015. I mean, there's a million of these.
Yeah. HP makes excellent laser printers as well.
Which you said is pretty good.
Yeah. And it does color as well. But again, color laser is a little bit more expensive up front. I think the consumables are really cheap.
Yeah.
So, actually, it sounds like he has an inkjet.
It is actually.
Yeah. I do not like HP's inkjets as much. They put the copy protection chips in there.
Yeah, which is not a good thing.
You know what? You might say I'm going to always buy company cartridges anyway. I think that's probably a reasonable thing. I just don't like it that they're saying you have to.
Yeah.
That bugs me.
And we've been buying off-brand ones for a number of years, and they've been totally fine, and they're half to a third of the price.
Yeah.
So I haven't had any issues.
Well, exactly. They overcharge for the ink so they can, you know, sell the printers for less.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you have since you know the EcoTank brand pretty well, is there a particular one that you would say, hey, this should check the boxes for you? It's an all-in-one and it's not $500?
No, what's nice is they have if you don't want the tanks, the Workforce Pros are very good. I had that. I still have one of those. I can't remember what I have. Let me see. But what's nice about the EcoTanks is it kind of like has a range, you know, the price. They have a low price one and build. You don't get the cheapest one.
Right.
But I think the decent all-in-one, let me see, EcoTank. Don't get the photo. I think I had a 2750, I want to say. $300. That's the one I had. Is that what I had? No, they don't sell that one anymore. Let me see what they sell these days. 2760, $300. So 2720 even. Let me look at this one here real quick. That's $200. That might do everything you need. It's 4,500 pages of ink. Print, copy, scan. That's $200. That's not bad.
Oh, that's cheap. And that was a 2720, is that?
Yeah, the 2720.
Huh, okay.
That's a step down from the one I have, but sounds fine. Fine. I think I had the 2750, which now is the 2760, and that's $100 more. I'm not sure what you get for $100 more, however.
Yeah. Well,
might be a little faster. Yeah, I think get the 2720.
Yeah, because $200 is not an issue.
And remember, you're not gonna buy ink for 2 years, so really, I think it's a savings to get that.
Yeah,
and the color's great. Now you can really get nice color.
Good. Okay.
All right.
That's a great tip. And if I go wrong, I can blame you.
Thanks, Jody. So are you a producer? What do you do?
I'm a filmmaker. I'm a director, cinematographer, editor.
Nice.
Scott Wilkinson interviewed me some years ago at NAB. I've done an HDR project for Sony. So I do projects big and small. I'm doing a lot of virtual LEDs, virtual wall stuff right now. Just shot a bunch of 12K footage with multiple 12K.
Nice.
Wow.
I got to run. Hey, saying go to Costco, get these EcoTank. They give the prices are lower and they give you more ink.
I will.
Costco. Hey, Johnny Jet. Johnny, are you there? Johnny?
Hey.
He is there. Good. You scared me. He's been everywhere. A traveling man. He's been to New York. He's back already. He's back on the road. Johnny Jet at johnnyjet.com, at Johnny Jet on Twitter, Johnny Jet on Instagram. He's got a great YouTube channel with travel questions. In fact, you just asked me, and I just sent you a response, and I forgot what it was for your newsletter. Or maybe your
craziest things you pack.
Craziest things you pack.
The strangest.
And what I told you was my wife packs her own coffee. Even if we're going to Spain or Italy or France where they have great coffee, she packed it on the way to Brazil. And the only problem with that is I realized, well, after I was getting searched, that drug dealers use coffee to bring drugs into the country because it hides the smell. And now
that's a red flag.
Yeah, and I probably should have thought the red flag was when my wife said, "Can you carry the coffee?"
So for people listening, you never carry anyone's bag but your own. If anyone
even your
ever
wife's,
asks you,
no, you can carry your wife's bag, obviously.
Well, your wife's fine, but I wouldn't. I've had passengers ask me, "Can you help me with these bags?" I'm like, "Sorry, not through international borders."
Johnny, we're pretty excited. We set up a Alaska cruise for next year with Holland America on the Eurodam, July 22nd. 2023. We're gonna go to Alaska. It's a TWiT cruise, my podcast network. And then I was looking because Lisa wants to do see more of the USA, and Viking just is building a riverboat cruise for the Mississippi.
Yep.
But it's booked up. I just booked with my wonderful travel agent, Jane Zugsmith at Travel Store, a Mississippi riverboat ride in 2024.
Well, I got you an invite as a media, by the way. I spoke to the PR people. If you
at
want.
Viking?
Yeah.
Well, I already booked the trip.
Well, this is This is either 2023 or 2022, whenever they're launching.
Yeah, they're launching. The boat is being built now. It'll be launching next year.
So they're going to have like a little preview cruise. And,
all right.
I told them to invite you just to check it out.
Invite me because we already bought a passage from St. Paul all the way down to New Orleans.
Awesome. I'm going on it too. And
when are you going?
I'm going to do the same. But we just came back. We did our first family trip. Kids on the plane.
Yeah. How was that?
It went great. I mean, my daughter's first time ever flying. She was a champ.
The kids are too young to have to wear masks, right?
Jack, you have to if you're 2 or over. So Jack had to wear one, but Olivia did not.
And he was okay with it?
The kids are better than the adults. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I know. The adults really are the childish ones. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and both my kids were better behaved than the adults on the plane. Nice. And that's not an exaggeration.
Nice. That's great.
There's, the planes are full and TSA checkpoints right now. They set another record again yesterday and Thursday. We've traveled on Thursday. Over 2 million people. I think we're about 25% down than pre-pandemic. But those numbers are going to go up once they start opening up to Europeans. The U.S. is still not allowing Europeans come in. Canadians
I saw Canada extended their.
Yeah, that's a huge bummer because we were hoping to go see my in-laws
in Toronto.
But it's going to be at least till July 21st. People are saying maybe August 1st. But someone in the chat room just said that there might be an allowance for people who are vaccinated, which would be awesome since we are. But I have not heard that yet. Let's just hope that happens. But the EU just lifted some travel restrictions for Americans, so you can go. It's still up to each individual country, so it's kind of confusing. So you got to figure out which country you're going to, but it does open up the borders a lot better. Yay!
We're coming back, folks.
In Malta, by the way, they're now allowing only travelers from 38 states. So not all 50 states. So if the state hasn't met the threshold of how many people vaccinated, then they can't get in.
It really seems like a hodgepodge at this point, and it's all just kind of.
Well, and I think the masks are on the plane too. I mean, I flew the other day, and the flight attendants. I walked back and surprised the flight attendants. They didn't have the mask on. The pilot didn't have the mask on.
Yeah.
But they make these stern announcements, and it's really up to the flight attendants. So listen, I'm all for wearing masks. I think a lot of the sicknesses, I don't know about COVID, but at least flus and stuff don't get what's the word I'm looking for? Transpire. But I think the mask mandate actually might go away. They say right now it's for September 13th, but people are talking about possibly they're lifting it July 13th. We'll see.
But you know what's good? You can still wear one if you want. And
a lot of people will.
I think I will. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to get anything, not even a cold. So I might be wearing a mask anyway.
So a couple things, since so many people are traveling right now, and there's a lot of shortage. I mean, everywhere. I was just looking at an article that restaurants can't find servers. TSA is asking people to volunteer. American Airlines is asking some of their executives to volunteer. They can't find enough agents. American canceled 100 flights, I think, today because they didn't have enough pilots. So there's a big shortage, and the TSA can't hire people fast enough. So a couple things you need to do. If you do have TSA pre-check, make sure you go to the TSA.gov website and check the pre-check schedule, because not every line is open.
Wow.
Like we were at JFK the other night, and it was not open at 7 p.m. So you got to check in advance. Leave plenty of time if it's not, because some of these are long lines. Also, there's not enough agents, airline reservation agents. Hold times are ridiculous. There's been reports of 9 hours people being on hold. I have an Uber Elite number for American Airlines because I fly so much with them. My wait time at midnight, because you call it off-peak times, was an hour.
Wow.
So what you do is you take to Twitter. And I did that because I forgot to add my child as a lap child. And I waited to the last minute. So don't wait to the last minute. And just reach out on Twitter, send them a DM. Never put your confirmation number out to everybody because people could do some nefarious things. But they responded within 18 minutes. So, and I did it twice because I changed my flight. So always look at that. Twitter is a way to go. Same with the thing with Travelocity. I tried to reach out to Travelocity. Their customer service, you can't even find a phone number, and if they answer, it's ridiculous.
So, but I'm glad
Twitter's
I have a travel agent. This sounds like it's a good time to have a travel agent. Let them do
very good time to have a travel agent because they'll do all this dirty work for you.
Yeah.
So spend the extra $25, $40, whatever they charge. What does your travel agent charge, by the way?
I don't. She's never charged us anything. I don't know if that's her policy or she just likes me. But I try to book her. I know she probably doesn't make any money on hotels and things like that.
So hotels usually pay.
Okay.
Hotels are actually one of the big.
I try to use her for cruises, that kind of thing. Because then I think you also get a better booking.
Always use a cruise agent because they get you perks. They can get either a cabin upgrade. They can get you amenities.
I asked Lisa this morning at breakfast. Let's go to Mississippi, and I sent her an email. She had us booked within an hour.
Wow.
Yeah. So they've got special ways.
They do.
And you can't have mine. Rewind. I mentioned her name. Now I'm regretting it.
Yes, because there are going to be a lot of people calling her.
Yeah, she's really good. And so it sounds like that, especially for certain kinds of trips, that's a good thing to have, is somebody who can do that on hold stuff for you.
Especially for cruises. Like for cruises, I use cruise planners. I spoke at one of their conventions a long time ago. And just because they specialize in that stuff.
Yeah. If you're going we always use Travel Store for our cruises. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Good.
And I always buy, Jane told me this, always get the insurance. And I always do that at time of booking.
You get the insurance, but you don't get it through the cruise line.
No,
you get it through a third party.
Third party. That's right. Because what if the cruise line goes bankrupt? That's what you're buying. That's what you're buying insurance for. Somebody in the chat room saying, can you repeat the name of your travel agent? Jane with a Y, Zugsmith at Travel Store, ZUGSMITH. She's getting her hair done right now going, don't say my name. Thank you, Johnny Jet. JohnnyJet.com. He is the man. I'm glad Olivia had her first flight. How exciting is that? Leo Laporte, the tech guy. How did she like it? It was all the way to New York, right? Long flight?
Yeah. So I booked these flights back in September. I talked about it on your show. I said, listen, this is the time to book.
Yep.
20,000 miles for business class, which is less than coach.
Wow.
Coach is usually 20 or 30,000, and I got business for 20. Lie flat seats. I booked it so there was not a lot of people around us. I didn't want my kids to be. And the way back, we flew first class because I booked last minute and found a good deal. And again, I just didn't want people around my kids because they're not vaccinated. So I splurged on that. But, when we first got on the plane, she cried for the first minute. I was like, oh boy, here we go. And then she didn't, not another peep out of her. She just went to sleep and she loved it.
And did Jack enjoy getting back in the air?
Oh my God, that guy is like built for it.
Oh, I'm so happy. And it was fun.
So
you had a nice trip.
Oh yeah, and we had unfortunately I left his captain's hat. He has a captain's hat. And he wears it on the plane, and the flight attendants, you just eat him up.
They treat him, like a god.
And he always brings bags of chocolates and hands it to the flight attendants and the pilots, and they treat him like a rock star. Honestly, actually, the flight attendant called him a rock star on the flight over.
Did you buy him a captain's hat in New York so he could fly back with a hat?
I didn't realize it was gone until we got to the airport. And actually, I could have bought one in the airport, but I wasn't going to spend double the amount.
Yeah.
Which I need to make a note right now to buy one because I
bring captain's hat wherever you go. That's fun. Now Olivia's going to want one too.
Yeah, so she's got to get one. I'm ordering two.
You're going to have one too?
No, just Johnny. Olivia and stuff.
Yeah, it's better when kids wear it. I think it's a little weird when adults wear it.
I'm not going to wear it.
She's doing all Saturday songs. Bay City Rollers. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 88 Ask Leo. Are you, Professor Laura, you have a hot date or something you're excited about Saturday night? You're clearly excited. A hot date for Saturday night. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. Website is techguylabs.com. And as you can see, I'll take printer questions. Don't worry. Nothing bad will happen. A number of people, though, after our last caller mentioned, maybe I'll get an HP. Oh, boy, that stirred up the hornets in the chat room, on our Discord chat room. Jonathan showed me a picture from his HP printer. He says, so after paying money for a printer, HP holds it ransom until you sign up for their data collection garbage. This printer requires the use, it says on the screen, of an HP account, enabled web services, and internet connection. They're all doing it now, right? So, you know what? Don't get an HP. Epson hasn't, at least so far, doesn't do that. I think they're good. And again, the advice from several people in our chat room said, go to Costco to get your Epson. They give you a couple extra bottles of black ink and so forth. 88. See, I'll take printer questions. 8888 Ask Leo. Anthony on the line from Ventura. Hello, Anthony.
Well, hi, Leo. I should say it again, zippity-doo-dah. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for calling, Anthony. What can I do for you?
Well, you might remember I talked to you on a very sad day. It was March 1st of last year, 2020. It's when COVID broke out.
Wow. It's been a long year, hasn't it? Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
It has. And I said zippity-doo-dah because I'm a former broadcaster. And you said, is that what you say when you used to answer the phone? Zippity-doo-dah?
Zippity-doo-dah to you. A beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Yeah. What can I do for you?
Well, remember, I was the guy that's been owning a Nokia Lumia phone.
Oh, my God, I do remember you.
Yeah.
The last holdout of a Windows phone.
I should go down to Home Depot and buy a shovel and bury that thing in the back.
Well, it's not dead yet.
No, it's not dead. We were talking about replacing it with the OnePlus 7 Pro.
Yes.
They were out of stock because the 8 Pro was coming in. And I did buy it. It cost me $1,000.
Holy moly.
Yeah, I bought the whole works, the OnePlus 8 Pro. But as you know, Windows has its own OS, and the OnePlus 8 Pro is on the Android.
Yes.
Those are animals from the planet Mercury, Pluto.
Well, yeah, but nobody's making Windows phones anymore, so...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I've got the bright red box of the OnePlus 8 Pro, but my biggest problem is, number one, I can no longer access the Microsoft server, the OneDrive. It will no longer accept Microsoft.
Yeah.
It won't upload.
Yeah, Microsoft's pretty much given up on that. They do make a phone now. They say don't call it a phone, the Microsoft Duo, but it runs Android. There is no Windows Phone being made anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah. So my big question of the hour that only Leo Laporte and his cast of characters on the message board there could answer is, how do I get my contacts off Nokia Lumia 1520 and onto the OnePlus 8 Pro Android?
Presumably, the your Microsoft account has them.
Nope.
No. So at one point you synchronized with it, but I guess once they stopped supporting it, you couldn't update it, and you've been updating it ever since.
It kicked me out about last summer, so it's been stopped updating about a year ago because I had the 8.1 version. I never even went to 10. I stayed at 8.1 for mobile.
So when you go to people.live.com, which is your Microsoft contacts, it's out of date now, basically. I mean, it was syncing when you first got the Lumia.
Oh, yeah. It was, but it is done. So I figure... since I'm kind of a broadcaster like you, well, a retired one because I was injured, and that's a whole other story. Is there a way that I could do it in a linear form, cable to cable?
Yes.
Okay, tell me how to do it.
Yes.
I may not love you, but you know.
The trick is going to be, do you have a cable you can connect this to your computer?
Oh, yeah. I could take everything off of the Lumia 1520 and onto my Windows 7. Yes.
Oh, well, there you go. So you should be able to export the Windows Phone contacts into a format that you can copy to your PC.
Okay.
I would think. So what happens when you plug in your Lumia to your Windows 7 machine? Does it show up as a drive, or does it show? What does it look like? What does it
shows up as
okay.
It shows up as a drive. And you got to remember, it had the SD card, which was really nice. The Lumia.
Yeah. Oh well, that's another way you could probably do it. So I'm going to try to do this from memory.
Yeah, your memory.
Because I believe you can, in fact, wait a minute, I found an article from Paul Thurrott, how to back up Windows Phone 8.1 contacts and messages to an SD card.
Okay.
So there you go. That's what you're going to really want to do. So if you go into contacts and messages, you'll see there's a backup button, and it will back up to that SD card. You can choose whether to back up contacts and messages or just contacts or both. And then now the question is what that format's going to be. But at least once you've got it on an SD card, you've got it in some format, that the next step will be to take that SD card. You can either connect it to the computer and copy it off of there, or take out the SD card, put it into the computer with a card reader and get it there. I'm not sure what format.
My laptop has got the slot for the SD card.
Right. So so once it's on, yes,
is that the OnePlus does not have the slot for the SD card?
No. Yeah, this is the first step, is to get it off the Windows Phone.
Got it. And
I think you can just get it on your computer that way. That's going to be the simplest thing. Once you've got, now I don't know what format it exports it into. That's something that is not clear here. I'm going to put a link in the show notes to his article so you can at least refer to it. But if you just go into the contacts settings, you'll see there's an export command. So now once we've got that, we have to look at what this is. I'm going to presume and hope that Microsoft had the good sense to export it in some fashion that can be read either as a VCF, which is a standard format for contact cards, or as a CSV file. Either way, anything will be able to read that. So the next step is then to go to, on the Windows computer, go to contacts.google.com and import that file. One hopes it'll just import straight. Otherwise, you might have to modify it, and I'll talk about that in a second. But it should be able to import it straight into Google Contacts. Now it's in Google Contacts. and it will sync to your OnePlus phone if you turn that syncing on, which you should anyway. You want to have it synced to some, just as your Windows phone was syncing to Microsoft's Live.com, you want to have your Android phone syncing to Google.com. That way, there's no risk.
That's one of the things we talked about is of all the cell phones, you suggested the OnePlus because the OnePlus could talk to Microsoft's OneDrive, because I've got so much on the OneDrive. I want to see.
Well, any Android phone will now work with OneDrive. Microsoft has made that possible. So that's the good news. As soon as Microsoft stopped doing Windows Phone, it realized, well, we're going to have to start acting nice in the iOS and Android world. Because mobile is so important. And so they interoperate very well. There's no problem at all. The main problem you have right now is just getting it off of that Windows phone and in a format you can read. Now, I don't know what you're going to get on that SD card. Put it on your computer. Look at it. If it's a .csv or a .vcf, you're golden. Google will just import that. Now it's in Google Contacts. With Google Contacts will sync to the OnePlus phone and every other phone you have, including if you someday get an iPhone, it'll also work with that. I don't know, though, what the format is, to be honest with you, and that's going to be the only trick. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Yes, time to talk computers and the internet and home theater, digital photography and smartphones and smart watches and, all the tech gadgets and gizmos. In fact, our GizWiz is coming up in about 45 minutes to talk about a gadget of the week. But this is your time, our time together. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. We got a couple of lines open. This would be a good time to call. 888-827-5536. That's toll-free in the U.S. or Canada. And outside that area, you can use Skype and reach us. Shouldn't cost you anything. Anywhere in the world. 8888 Ask Leo. The website where everything we talk about goes is techguylabs.com. Kev Brewer in our Club Twit Discord says that the export from the Lumia phone's contacts will be VCF. That's good. That's a standard for contacts. So that's good. Anything should be, including Google, should be able to read VCF files. The variant call format. No. Is that really what it is? No, that's for jeans. Blue jeans. It's a virtual contact file. There we go. That makes a lot more sense. It's basically a business card. Electronic business card, VCF. So there'll be one record per person, and all the fields should be represented in there. It's really a good way to exchange contact information. In fact, you may even notice in some email programs and some contact programs say, you want to attach a VCF file, your business card, to your emails. People do that. Jerry's on the line from Santa Rosa, California. Our next call. Hi, Jerry.
Oh, hi. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Thank you.
Good.
Let's see. I can tend to talk a little bit too much, so stop me whenever. I got a problem. I know. I got a problem with this Wi-Fi cable modem router combination stuff.
Yes.
And it's, I had old school, where I had a modem and the router and all that.
Yeah, you had what we call separates, one of each.
Yeah. And and the modem was pretty old. It was probably 7 or 8 years old. And all of a sudden it started cutting out and turning off, and I'd have to unplug it and everything else. So I thought, I'm going to get one of these new type of things. And I got one. They sent it to me, and it turned out I wasn't paying attention. I got the wrong thing. It was a rebuilt job.
Yeah, generally the cable company can offer, will say, hey, for a mere $7 a month, you can rent one of ours. And that's often the case. It's some other customer had it. It's beat up. It's old. You're overpaying, in other words.
Yeah, and I learned that a long time ago. I knew that. That's why I bought the one that I bought and had it, and everything worked fine for a long time. And then, I get this one, and I go, I don't want no rebuild. So I sent it back, and I said, you know what? I was being a little cheap. I said, maybe I'll get this one that's maybe a little bit better. Same, this is like $150. And I get it, and I'm putting it in, and it's big. You know how it is. You got to change everything in the world.
Yeah, in fact, you often have to notify the cable company that you're going to use different equipment, and they have to ping it and add the MAC address to their database, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and they even advertise that this works with Xfinity, and I'm local, so it's Xfinity.
It's Comcast, yeah.
Yeah,
they have a list. Comcast has a list of what they support, what they'll allow.
Right, and they look it up and they go, "Oh yeah, we take that." And I go, "Well, I know you do. It says right here on
What kind did you get?
So anyway, it's called a Netgear AC 1750 Wi-Fi cable modem router.
Oh, okay, so it's a combined. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I use a Netgear cable modem, but it's a dedicated cable modem, the CMS 1000, which I really, really like and recommend to people. But it's the same. It's probably exactly the same chipset in your, dual device, I would bet.
A buddy of mine across the street, he says, "Oh, I have this other one. It's the same sort of thing, but it's by a different company." He goes, "It was used," and he said, "Why don't you try it?" And I tried it, and they all cut out. I have nothing but problems with them turning themselves off and on. I used his; it did the same things like what this one does. So I was just wondering, do you think it's possible that there's something wrong with my system?
Yeah, it might be the cable. So what I like to do is have separates, because you may want to upgrade one or the other as time goes by and not have to buy both. So I always use I have a CM1000. Here's what you're going to look for in a cable modem. The standard is called DOCSIS, DOCSIS, and the current standard is DOCSIS 3.1. I don't know if Comcast in our area, because you're in the same area I am, uses DOCSIS 3.1. I think they do. If they don't already, they will at some point. It's a faster speed. So if you're gonna buy a cable modem, you're gonna get a DOCSIS 3.1, just to be future-proofed if they're not already using it.
Well, let's just talk about speed for a second. This is supposed to make things go faster, and I have an older computer.
Well, a cable modem won't necessarily make things go faster, and if your older computer is the weak link, it might not go faster either. So you got a Netgear. You got a Netgear cable modems plus router. And you're saying it's cutting out. What does that mean? Does it mean you're losing internet access at your end periodically, or
it just drops off? And what's funny about it is that I have a what do you call the girl that talks to you? What's her name?
Well, there's several. There's Alexa. There's Siri, and there's Ms. Google.
Well, I have.
Okay.
And typically, I guess I must be a little bit nervous because I'm losing my words, and I don't always do that. Anyway, so I got, and she's on the radio next to me, and I'm listening to you on the radio or anybody. And mostly in the early morning, I got the computer on, look at the emails and that sort of thing. And all of a sudden, the radio just stops. And about 10, 15 seconds later, it turns back on. But the computer's still up.
It's buffering. So that's the radio is doing it, and your computer does it from time to time. So now we know it's not any particular device, it's your internet. And it could well be it's not that cable modem router you got either, that it's the internet. And so that's where Xfinity has to come out and check it. They have to check the signal strength at your house. Where they're going to balk is if it's good coming into your house, they're going to say, "Hey, dude, it's good coming in your house. We're not responsible for anything past that point." And it could be that it's not at all uncommon. People add a bunch of splitters. How long have you been in the house? Is it an older house? Have you been in it for a while?
Yeah, well, I already experienced that problem, and I thought I'd fixed it because about 3 years ago I found that I moved a few things around and nothing worked the same anymore. So I eliminated one splitter, and then everything worked great.
Right. Splitters can really be a problem. Yeah, but there may be others in there. The guy before you, who knows what he did, might have gone under the house and taken one wire and split it 20 times. So
no, that would have been me.
Hey, at least you own up to it. So that's what you need to figure out is, and you can have Xfinity come out. They don't like to roll trucks. No one does. It's expensive. But get them to come out saying it's dropping, it's dropping, it's dropping. You got to come out and look at it. Honestly, it could also be them. I've had them come out to my house. The guy said, "Well, I don't know." And he went out. Then he went across the street to where the cable comes into a junction for the houses in my neighborhood, and he rewired it and it fixed it.
Oh.
So it could be that. That's just the problem. It's all along the chain. Any weak link is going to be the problem. I don't think it's your cable modem / router. That's Netgear's a good device and it's modern. I don't think, and since your friends did the same thing, I think it's your internet. But it's going to be hard to convince them, and no one wants to call Comcast. It's the world's worst experience.
Well, I guess what it amounts to is I don't always take a lot of things. You know how you read these things, you're going to buy something, and there's 20,000 people that all bought it, and they all throw their 2 cents worth.
But they all have different cable providers, different connections, different situations. Yeah. It's a good device. I think it's a fine device. I think going out and buying another device is not the answer.
Well, I don't want to do that because it's a big pain to have to change the password on everything.
Yeah, I agree.
House.
Yeah. Well, you can reuse that password, by the way, and everything will be fine. But never mind that. You should get Comcast to take a look at it. That's the first thing you need to do. And God knows you pay them a lot for this service. I know because I do too.
I know. I'm thinking about that too.
Yeah.
Off and on.
Yeah.
But I just real quick, and I know with me real quick, maybe more than 30 seconds. But anyway, my computer's older. That's fine. I expect it to be slow, right? It's like 19.2 mega
That's not
MP,
much.
whatever that.
Yeah.
But my son's computer, which is an Apple computer, and it's probably 4, 5, 6 years old. And it's in the back room where I'm at, 2 walls away from where the unit's all set up and everything. 210.
There you go. It's your computer. Which is too bad because you're paying for the 210. You're not paying for the 19. But you're not getting the bandwidth. So that may be there are other problems with this connection. I think it's worth getting Comcast to come out. They'll come out with a signal meter. And the first thing they'll do is they'll check, well, how strong and consistent is the signal coming to the house? Make them do that. And at that point, you can decide if it's a problem inside or outside. They can fix everything inside. Outside, but inside's you're up to you.
I did call Netgear in the beginning because it dropped out a few times, and I thought maybe they'd know something. This is beginning on. I started this the other day, and I'm still working through it. I thought you'd save a lot. But when they talked to me, they said, well, you go to your connected thing, and I went to it, and I said, why does it say Netgear 63.5G and Netgear 63 not 5G? They're both mine. And they said, well, which one are you hooked up to? I said, the Netgear 63. They go, well, change it to the Netgear 5G. So I did. I don't know that it really did anything. What's the difference between? So
your router, your Wi-Fi router, has both 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz bands. And so, honestly, usually when I set mine up, and there's a setting in the Netgear to do this, I have them the same name and have them bonded and let the devices choose according to which signal is better for them. But they're saying, well, maybe it's a 2.4 gigahertz isn't as good as the 5G. Let's try the 5G. Trust me, it's probably not the router modem. I know that's what you want to blame, but honestly, cable companies have problems like this all the time. Get them out there. If they check it, they say it's fine, then they come in the house and they check where the router is and they say the signal's fine here. Now you can start looking at the router, but I'd have the cable company work at it first. That's what it sounds like.
That sounds great. Thank you, Leo.
Yes, Jerry, my pleasure. You're a neighbor. We got to help each other out, man.
I know. Well, you're down in Petaluma, and
we're not far.
Santa Rosa.
Yeah. What we ended up doing is it turned out because I got a DOCSIS 3.1 modem, I could get gigabit. Comcast now offers gigabit down, 40 megabits up, and it's been fantastic. We also ended up wiring the whole house so that, and this was when. Junior's going to school. He's using Zoom. My wife is working at home. So we needed really reliable, high-speed internet. So we wired everything. Had somebody come out, crawl down the walls, put wires in and everything. And it really is vastly improved the house. I also got a new ridiculously expensive prosumer Wi-Fi setup from Ubiquiti. And that has really paid off because I was really getting tired of, honey, the internet's down again. So getting that fixed, your life will be better. It really will. At least ALEXA won't complain. Our show today, thank you for the call. I appreciate it. Great to talk to you, neighbor. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Get down. 8888, Ask Leo. To Paris, California. Vince is on the line. Hi, Vince.
How you doing, Leo? How are you?
I am well. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I love your show. I listen to it religiously, believe me.
You must be a geek.
I love it.
What
can enough.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Vince. What can I do for you?
I was mentioning that to my brother here next to me that...
Hey, brother. What's your brother's name?
Jose.
Hey, Jose.
Yes. My daughter is starting to go to college, and she, the Chromebook that she had in high school, of course, she had to turn it in. And
the school wants it back. Yeah, yeah.
So I was wondering what would be the best, or
does she want to do a Chromebook again, or what does she want to do?
I think she said more that's something that would help her more towards, college and stuff. She's going to college right now.
Yeah, that's congratulations, by the way. Isn't that exciting? Did she just graduate?
Yes, she did.
Oh, so did my son. It's exciting, isn't it? Did she get to walk?
Yes, it is.
Did she get to walk?
Oh, yes. They we only were able to take. I guess we were only 3 people. 3 people from the
family. It was the same way. I couldn't go because only 4 people could go. I had to work anyway,
wow.
They did it in 2 shifts. But everybody got to walk up, get their diploma, sit back down. That's so important. Well, congratulations. And where's she going to school? Is she going in the fall?
No, she's yes, she is. And she's actually going to. She graduated from Paris High School here in the city of Paris, California. A little town.
And then what about college? Is she going to go locally, or what's she going to do?
Yes. It's going to be local. It's
she's going to do the JC?
Mount Centinela.
Yeah, okay. And does she know what she's going to study?
She doesn't right now, but...
Because sometimes if you know you're going to do one thing or another, that would indicate a certain kind of computer. What's the budget, Dad? What are you going to spend?
Right, I didn't even think about it. I guess under 400.
Okay, so
I know that's not that much.
Yeah, I mean, generally for a student, my favorite laptop for a student is a MacBook Air. They're about $1,000 though. They're much more expensive.
Okay.
What's nice? They're super thin, super light. The new ones are very fast. But Apples have never been cheap. They do have educational pricing. You could probably go through the school and get it to $899.
Oh wow!
So
that's great.
Yeah, it's a really good student computer.
Wow.
I have to say, there are not a lot of. I know money's tight. It's hard. There are not a lot of great computers at $400. There is a good Chromebook, the Acer ACER Spin. That's around that price point, but I think she's right. It might be that she wants something a little more capable. Although she already knows how to use Chromebooks, she's comfortable with them. Acer does make a Windows-based version of the Spin, but I think it's a little more expensive. You know, there's a little Microsoft tax you pay on that one.
Okay.
But I would, you could take a look at that.
Okay, I will.
If you could spend more, I would, because generally what you sacrifice is the quality of the trackpad, the keyboard, the screen. Processor's a little slow, storage is a little light. You know, they can get the price down, but you definitely sacrifice some quality for that. I think the MacBook Air at $900 is really the best you could do. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Nice to talk to you, Vince. See you, Jose. Congratulations again. Oh, that's so exciting. That's a nice gift for your daughter. And you're right, she's gonna need it.
Yes. And we didn't even think about it, but as far as getting her something, because money's tight and stuff. So.
Oh, I know. Believe me. And unfortunately, the PC industry has kind of given people the impression, because they do sell them, that you can get a decent computer for $300 or $400. But honestly, you're going to spend another $300 or $400 next year too, because it's going to break in that time.
That's true. That's very true. I didn't even think about that.
I would. An Air will last all 4 years, and she'll be very happy with it.
Wow. And what is it called again? You said? I'm sorry.
So I would look at either the MacBook Air, but that's going to be twice your budget. I'm sorry to say. If you want to stay in that budget, Acer, ACER.
Okay.
And they have some low-cost computers like the Acer Aspire. Let me see what their least expensive. Acer makes some pretty good low-cost computers like the Aspire 3, which will look a lot like her Chromebook. And it's not a bad machine for the price.
Right.
So I guess probably that would be my choice for the low cost. Is the Acer ACER Aspire. She'll have to get Windows on it, unfortunately, but Windows is fine. And the nice thing is when you're in college, there's other people using Windows, so you can always say, "What's going on here? Why is this broken?" She doesn't have to call me.
You're right. And I want to say this real quick. I do listen to you religiously, and not only that, but I truly appreciate that you stayed on the line to talk to me on your commercial, because I've been to other radio stations and they just hang up. And I understand they're busy and stuff, but this means totally a lot. And thank you, sir, for your time.
Somebody in the chat room has given me a link to a Costco deal for the Acer Swift 3 600. It's a little more expensive, but it's a pretty decent system.
Okay.
The Swift ACER Swift 3 at Costco.
Okay.
All right.
3, okay.
So that's a little more. It's $600, but I think it's worth the extra $200 for you. And
yes.
And Vince, you're welcome. Thank you for listening. Thanks for Jose putting up with this.
Thank you.
Now go and do something fun for Father's Day.
Thank you, sir. You do.
Happy Father's Day, Vince. Take care. You're a good dad.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thank you.
I'm going to cry. It's nothing like a father's love for their kids. Yeah, that's a good deal, that Costco deal. That's probably the minimum I would get. But these are nice. They're really a lot like a MacBook Air. It's got an AMD, which is going to save you. Yeah, that's actually a pretty nice computer. Only 8 gigs of RAM, but I think that's fine. This is probably the best choice in his budget, or close to his budget anyway. I know. Just love our dads. Thank you to all the fathers. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. The chat room, actually the Discord, found a really good deal at Costco for an Acer Swift 14-inch laptop. Really looks just like a MacBook Air. It's thin, it's light. Ryzen 5 processor. 4500U, that's a good processor. It doesn't have a huge amount of RAM, 8 gigs, but it's $600 at Costco. That's a great deal. And Costco has a very good return policy. All around, I think that's probably the best way to go. Kind of brings a tear to my eye when I think about dads all over the country. They got their kids through high school, getting ready to send them out to college or out into real life. Want to give them the best, don't they? Happy Father's Day, dads. And to my dad, too. Let's go to San Pedro, California. Karen is on the line. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Leo. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Thank you.
Welcome. What can I do for you?
I have a Windows 10 computer, HP, and on my internet, when I would open it up for a while, it would give me this message that said, your settings are out of date. And then another message would appear that said, fix or dismiss. And I would push the fix or put the cursor on the fix, and then it would do the little round thing, beep, 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 that it was thinking. And then the message would come back and it said, sorry, we can't help you. And so that would continue on day after day. And I would try the fix periodically. Nothing would happen. Finally, I pressed the dismiss because I wanted to get rid of the message. The message didn't go away. Email went away.
Yeah. So, okay. Oh, boy.
Not what I expected.
Not what you expected. So the first question is, who's sending that message? Your settings are out of date.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I assume
yeah. It's not Windows. It's not Windows. So what I suspected is, in fact, now that I suspected from the beginning, but now that you've said your mail went away, it was your mail program was telling you that.
Okay.
So fix. That's pretty funny.
I wouldn't fix it.
Who do you use for email? I'm going to guess Yahoo.
Well, I do have Yahoo, but this one that went away was AT&T.
Yeah, which uses Yahoo.
Yahoo. But this was the Windows 10 email.
Yeah. Well, it's the Windows 10 program, but it's the email sending that message. So and this is because I think it's because AT&T. Remember, AT&T purchased. Who did they purchase? They purchased Yahoo, right?
I think so.
Yeah, and now they're unloading it.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that this is going on because. Oh, it's so Wait a minute. Verizon bought Yahoo. Oh, it's so complicated. So what's happening is that AT&T is telling you need to update your settings. So the best way to do this is to start from scratch. Your email, here's the good news. Your email's still there. It hasn't gone away. Your settings changed and it just stopped getting your email. So what you want to do is go into Microsoft's mail program and delete that account. Just say, yeah, I'm not using it anymore, delete it. This will not delete your mail.
Okay, how do I go into the mail account?
Well, it's in the mail program that you use. I'm going to, you don't use the browser to get your mail, right? You use a program on Windows to get your mail? I
had an icon on the bottom.
Yeah, that's
and I
a
just
program.
clicked on the icon.
Yeah. So if in fact you could test this theory by going to your AT&T account in the browser. So if you go to mail.att.com and enter in your AT&T credentials, your login and password, your email will all still be there. You can see it. You'll see it in the browser. Nowadays, a lot of people use their browser. In your case, this is Microsoft's Edge browser. It used to be Internet Explorer.
Right. Now it's Edge.
It's
right.
Edge. So you can use Edge to get your email from AT&T. In fact, honestly, I think they would prefer that. But I think you're right to prefer using that icon. So, but if it just to make you feel better, if you go to mail.att.com and check to see if you're it's not mail.att. What is the direct? It's att.yahoo.com. Oh Lord. Okay. So you go to.
I do get Yahoo, but I used to get both of them.
Yeah.
And
so
I would transfer.
If you go to oh, it's so confusing. I think if you go to I don't know. Let me just. It's AT&T Mail. I think this is what happened, is that it changed. So you still have your old Yahoo account, but now AT&T has its own email account.
When I went and put mail.att.com login, then it came up with a screen that had AT&T Mail. Should I click on that then?
Yeah. And you should be able to log in. And just to verify that your mail is there, just to reassure you, you haven't lost your mail. But what you are going to want to do, is it there?
Well, a screen came up and it said introducing the new AT&T Mail.
See what happened? That's why your settings were out of date. AT&T messed with you.
And not told me.
Well, they did. That's what they were trying to tell you, but they didn't do a very good job, did they?
No.
So, in effect, when you canceled, you said, yeah, don't change the settings, and you stopped getting your mail. That would have happened anyway eventually.
I didn't say cancel. I said dismiss.
Dismiss.
I
don't want to do this. I don't want to see it. You're not fixing it. Go away.
Yeah, go away.
Go away. So do you see?
Now it says to sign up or sign in.
Sign in with your. You should still have your AT&T password and login, right? Yeah.
Correct.
So log in with that, and you'll see your mail. But what you're going to have to do is configure. Somebody must have done this for you. That icon is linked to Microsoft's mail program on Windows. Somebody must have set that up for you at some point.
Somebody set up the icon, yes.
Yeah. So I can't really help you set up that icon, but there is a way to go into the settings and set that up to work with your AT&T mail. And what happened is you need information about the server and all of that stuff. What happened is they changed the name of the server, and this broke it for not just you but for everybody, and it's extremely annoying. Hang on the line. I'll talk to you a little bit after, but I have to take a break, so don't go anywhere. Leo Laporte.
Thank you.
The Tech Guy. More of your calls coming up. Actually, the GizWiz coming up. All right. So, is the person who set up your mail originally around?
No.
Darn it.
No. it was someone that was helping me with the computer when I set up the computer.
Right. So, what he did, or she did, was go into the Microsoft Mail program and add the account. But those settings have changed, and so the account, the credentials he put in there no longer work. That's why your email stopped working.
Okay. So what I have now is Yahoo Mail, which is what I did have. Yahoo Mail.
Yeah, that didn't change. Only AT&T Mail changed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I didn't get the AT&T mail back.
No, because the settings. Because thank you, AT&T. This you're not the first person to call with this problem. In fact, what I've told other people is stop using AT&T for email, because who knows if this is going to happen again. It's so annoying. But one thing you can do, and I'm afraid it's a little complicated, is do what that person did initially, which is to go into the settings for that mail program and change the settings. This is very complicated, and it doesn't sound like you're super computer savvy.
No, I'm not a techie. I'm
yeah.
I learned by the skin of my teeth.
Yeah.
But if I go into settings and then I go into system, or
it's the settings for the mail program.
Okay.
So it's not. It used to be in the control panel. I don't know where. I don't have a Windows machine in front of me. I can't remember. Okay, here we go.
Okay, there's the settings menu.
Yeah, you want the mail settings.
Okay, I'm on the mail screen.
If you press, let's see.
The thing that looks like a little screw.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to be able to walk you through this without looking for it. Open Windows Mail. You still see your Yahoo Mail there, right?
Right.
Right. So, yeah, this is a security update is coming to AT&T email. You'll have to update your settings. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you have to create a secure mail key. Oh, Lord. They've made this virtually impossible for somebody who's not a geek to do. Learn more about secure mail keys. Oh, my God. Go to profile, sign in info. OMG. They have you need to find somebody who's got some tech savvy to do this.
Okay.
This is a nightmare.
Like a Geek Squad or something.
Yeah, this is a nightmare. So I'm going to just tell you, the way they now do this, they really don't want you to be using this Outlook program, or the Windows Mail program. They really want you to just keep using the browser, because they've made this so hard. Do you use a desktop program or a mobile app to access and manage your AT&T email? You need to use OAuth technology. Oh, don't know what OAuth is? Well, good news. You're going to it's simple. It's easy. All you have to do, Karen, is create a secure mail key. Go to Profile, sign in info, select the email account you want to get a secure mail key for, scroll to Secure Mail Key and select Manage Secure Email Key. If you have more than one address, select the address you want to use, add Secure Mail Key, enter a nickname, create Secure Mail Key, select Copy Secure Mail Key to the clipboard, select OK, then go to your app, replace the existing password with your Secure Mail Key. That's what changed. Your password no longer works. You have to use a special password that you generate at the AT&T site.
Okay. But I did tell me to do that one time, and I kept changing the password, and it still didn't help. But
no, you have to use this special password that they make.
They make.
I am running out of time. If you want to hang on, I'll help you, but it'll be about 10 minutes. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Disco Dick is here. DeBartolo. He is Mad Magazine's maddest writer, and he's our gizmo wizard. He joins us every week to give us a great gizmo or a gadget. Hello, Dickie D.
Leo, how you doing, pal?
I am well. How are you?
I'm super fine.
Happy Juneteenth, the 19th of June. And tomorrow is Father's Day, but you have no offspring except your dog.
Exactly.
So I hope your dog gives you a gift and not the kind dogs usually give you.
Last year I got an incredibly beautiful bone and
engraved with your name.
It was my initials. It was wonderful. And done. The initials were done with teeth marks. So that was quite an accomplishment.
So Dick every week joins us with a gizmo or a gadget. We can go to his website to find out what it is, but why don't you tell us, Dick?
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? You and I, we've talked about this many times. The coffee pot, the AeroPress.
Love it. My favorite coffee maker.
Okay. Now you're going on a trip.
Yes.
Okay. Well, now you can take the AeroPress Go.
I have one.
Oh my God, you do.
I bought one. I got one for Lisa because, and in fact, I was telling Johnny Jett this earlier today. Lisa, one of the strange things she does when we travel, even if we're going somewhere with the best coffee in the world, she brings her AeroPress with her and a bunch of pre-ground coffee.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
So I bought her the AeroPress Go, which is a travel version. You better tell people what the AeroPress is, though.
Well, first, yes, it works exactly like the AeroPress if you have one. But they managed to get the entire system down into the cup that you drink from, which is, I think it's 5.5 inches high. And
so
what's great...
See, I got to explain what this is, because people say, yeah, it's an AeroPress, but what's an AeroPress? It's the best... Even like the coffee gourmets say the AeroPress is the best thing ever. It's just a couple of pieces of plastic. You got a little filter you put in the bottom. You screw it in. You put the coffee in. You pour water on top of it. And then it's got this plunger. And you put it on top of the cup. You let it sit for 10 seconds. Then you plunge it through. And it gives you kind of the best of both worlds. A French press and drip filter. And I guess in a way, because there's pressure in espresso, it makes the best cup of coffee ever. It's fantastic. But it's a lot to bring with you.
Yes. And you love cold brew, so you don't even have to worry about heating the water.
No, you can't do this with cold brew. You need to boil the water. You do.
Oh, you do? Well, okay.
Yeah. Because I love this. I love this AeroPress. We have many of them, and when I saw the AeroPress Go, I immediately bought it for Lisa.
Okay, great.
So this is a travel version of this contraption.
Exactly. So you get 350 filters with it. But since you want everything to fit in this cup for travel, they give you a little filter carrier that holds 15 or 20 filters.
So you can't go on a vacation that's longer than 20 cups of coffee.
Exactly. And the little cup that covers the entire system, I use it as a coaster. When you're putting the coffee down, the cup can sit in that. And also, if you want to walk away for a few minutes, it's not the mug is not thermal. The cup it's
just a plastic mug. Yeah,
exactly.
I still use regular mugs. I'll tell you why they include this, because a lot of places, especially hotel rooms, for some reason you go to, the AeroPress has to fit in the cup, and it won't. So that's why they provide that cup, so that you can make the coffee and then pour it into whatever crappy little cup the Motel 6 gives you, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole purpose of it.
Yeah. You know what? I thought you had graduated to the Hotel 9.
Yeah.
Are you still going?
It's 50% more, so no.
I see. Okay.
No, okay. I'm still at the Motel 6. This is actually a fantastic invention. We own several AeroPresses.
Oh my God!
4
yes.
or 5. Yeah.
$32.
Yep.
And if you shop around, you can find it for like 26 or 28. But it's great for the boat. That's where I use mine. And
I'm going to use it on the Queen Mary. Oh, you don't mean that kind of boat.
Oh, no. My boat is a little smaller than that.
I just think it's great. And I even got her a little grinder to go along with it. So that
my gosh, a little hand grinder?
Yeah, a little hand grinder.
Battery?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, her coffee is pretty important.
I'm glad to hear it.
She's Mrs. Coffee. I can't. Joe DiMaggio's Mr. Coffee, but she's Mrs. Coffee. Yeah.
Wow, I'm glad she didn't run into him first. Or you
I know. I'd have been out of luck. Yeah. Oof. So no, I am a big fan of the AeroPress. It's weird because it's made by the same people who make the fake Frisbee, the Aero Bee. But I think.
Oh, you know what? I remember that.
Remember, it was like a Frisbee with a hole in the middle.
Yes.
Yeah.
It made terrible coffee. That was the problem.
Grounds went right through. So I think that they've pivoted now because even like coffee connoisseurs love the AeroPress. It's like a great way to make coffee. They have competitions.
Oh my gosh! And like on Amazon, there's 3,200 and some odd reviews, and it's like 4.8
Well, I am eternally grateful because you introduced me to the AeroPress many, many years ago. And it's really great. Wait a minute, you also take a water heater with you, an immersion heater.
Yeah, I take one of those little $15.
I got to get one of those because that's one of the problems when we bring this is getting the boiling water for it. So you actually.
Oh, okay. I'll send you a link to one that is 300 watts as opposed to most of them that are like 150 watts.
All right, so it's faster. Yeah, so it boils the water because you don't want to have the boiled water, and then. Look at that. Look at that. It's going to be a great cup of coffee. Look at that. He's pressing it through. There is even an app, an iOS app for the AeroPress that has recipes and a timer in it. And it says, okay, now put 32 grams of medium ground coffee in. And you press the button, it goes, okay, tick, 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 tick. And it says, okay, next step. It times the whole thing out.
Yeah. And that cup, the Go kit also has the measuring spoon and the stirrer.
Yeah, it's the works.
It's very cleverly worked out.
If you want to see Dick make a cup of coffee, it's on YouTube, and the link you'll find on his website, GizWiz, GizWiz. You're drinking the milk, Dick. Drink the coffee. And then
that's why
put the milk in the coffee and then drink the coffee. So GizWiz.biz is his website, GizWiz.biz. Click the button that says the GizWiz visits the tech guy, and you can see all about it. While you're there, don't forget you can also play the What the Heck Is It contest. Just a little more time, 11 days left for the May-June puzzle. It's a close-up of a gadget. There are autographed magazines, up to 6 for the correct answer, up to 12 for the best wrong answers. You'll be playing for the King Kong, the Godzilla versus King Kong edition of Mad Magazine. Dick will autograph it for you, which will make it pretty valuable because you've got, how many articles in this one?
20 pages of stuff, 4 articles by 4 different artists.
Wow,
yeah,
that's great. There's lots of stuff at his website, GizWiz.biz, including his fabulous podcast with Chad Johnson. Actually, that's at GizWiz.tv. Dick DeBartolo, Mad's maddest writer in our GizWiz, thank you so much. Have a great weekend.
Sir.
I hope you get another bone for Father's Day.
I'm hoping.
It beats the dog treat necktie. I got the other year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Dick.
Good.
Have a great
Okay. See you next
week.
You too. Okay. Bye.
Thanks to Professor Laura, our musical director. Kim Schaffer, our phone angel. Thanks to you for joining me. I'm Leo Laporte, your tech guy. Have a great geek week. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWiT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.